is John Ward, welcoming you to another presentation of Tennessee football on home video. The story you're about to see unfold is one of adventure and achievement. It's the story of teamwork, commitment, and the will to win.
Doesn't need a lateral. Oh, he took a weapon.
Welcome back to the Blue Chip Breakdown, Vols fans. Hey, that daggum Eric Berry, every single time.
Every time it gets me going.
That one gets me
every time.
Every single time.
I ain't never
Love
lost that.
EB. I mean, we talked about it in the tailgate show. There is no greater example of what a VFL is than Eric Berry, but he's on the same level as a whole lot of other guys. Al Wilson, obviously Peyton Manning, Bruce, another guy. There's a whole lot of people that we can put up in there, but we're not here to talk about that right now. But we do have to give the proper respect to Eric Berry.
Here's the deal. I mean, talk about Eric Berry. I mean, talk about a guy who was here during our down years and kept us somewhat relevant. Yep. I mean, it was a Heisman candidate as a DB. I mean, talk about a guy who we looked up to. Both of us looked up to. Both played DB, and we both looked up to him. I mean, he is an absolute legend at the University of Tennessee. Cannot say enough good things. I mean, we could be on here for a whole hour talking about Eric Berry. Cannot say enough good things about him.
Well, so look, this is a guy that came in as a five-star cornerback, number one
out of Georgia,
cornerback,
state of Georgia,
in the entire country, out of Georgia, which is where we're from. If y'all didn't know, if anybody's new to this channel, then y'all don't know that. But we are from Georgia. Huge Tennessee fans. But, excuse me. This is a guy, all right? This is a guy that, despite being from Georgia, goes up to Tennessee, and his dad is from Tennessee, and goes up there and balls out. Number one cornerback he's number one cornerback in the entire country.
I think he was a 5-star.
He may have been the number one cornerback, or he may have been the number one player in the entire country.
He was
in his class,
top 5.
2007. He was in the same class with Cam Newton and all those guys.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good class,
yeah, he was.
Huh?
But I'm saying all that just to say this. Okay. Goes up to Tennessee, starts off playing safety, moves to cornerback. This is a guy that's very versatile. Again, we can go on and on and on and on and on about Eric Berry. We love Eric Berry down here. I mean, we are huge.
Hey, he started the ball. He started this.
Yeah, started that right there for you.
Pick 6 against Tim Tebow, goes in the end zone.
Pick 6 as a true freshman.
True freshman.
That's a true freshman.
People don't realize that's his first start.
That was Tebow coming off of a Heisman Trophy year, no? Was it?
I think it was.
It was close to it. If it wasn't coming off of it, it was in that same season. Anyway, we are here to talk about our Vols today.
Played well.
And what we did,
proud of the way that we played today.
So proud of our Vols, so proud of everybody. And I'm not just talking about our players, but our fans. Sounded like, just from watching the broadcast, sounded like it was pretty loud. Could have been louder, we had to step it up there. And I'm going to say this, not going to be a Debbie Downer. I'm very happy that we won. This is a game that we expected to win, but we could have been louder and we could have played better. We're going to get into that in just a moment here. But let me get into some of the chats here. We've got Eric B. Jones. He says, "What's up, Blue Chip? I knew our Vols would win." And hey, man, EJ. I think, maybe we can just start calling him EJ because he's been like a constant on this channel.
Yeah,
EJ, appreciate that comment. First and foremost, we felt the exact same way. We knew that we would win. Let's see who else has got some. EJ also says, now on to Tuscaloosa to beat Bama. Go Big Orange. You're exactly right. We're going to get into that too tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Timmy G says, "What's up, fellas? What's going on, Timmy G?
What's up, Timmy
Appreciate
G?
everybody that is in the everybody's in the chat, everybody who's watching right now live." So, based off of what we saw today, I'm gonna go ahead and go first, Pete.
Yeah, that's right.
Number one thing that I saw was, like we said, we can run on these guys. Don't try to come and play a 3-man line of scrimmage up against this offensive line and this running attack.
We called.
We are solidified right now as the number one rushing team in the entire SEC, which inside of my mind makes us the number one rushing team in the entire country.
Absolutely.
Whatever you do in the SEC
Absolutely.
makes you the number one in the entire country.
100%.
Nobody else is really playing ball like us.
Absolutely.
We're talking about offense, defense, special teams.
Absolutely.
Everything. Offense. I mean, literally everything.
Absolutely.
We're the only ones who are doing that. Actually, had a Bama fan that chimed in to one of my. I think that it was our most recent video prior to this one. No, maybe it was the most previous one or the one before that. Anyway, they said that whatever their running back's name is, that we don't know. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what their running back's name is. Whoever they was talking about, they said, "Oh, he only rushed for X amount of yards. We'll call it 25." I said, "There's no way that y'all rush for more than that." Let me pull up the stats for y'all real quick, Vol fans.
We went for at least 232 on those guys.
Let me just pull it up.
We went for at least 232 on those guys.
So right here, this is per ESPN. It says that the Tennessee Volunteers rushed for 237 yards on 48 attempts.
We do the math.
4.8 yard average. Only thing that I don't like, 0 touchdowns.
Well, let me
some
stop
we
right
got
there.
fixed, but yeah.
Here's the deal. Okay, no one thought we'd rush for that average. No one thought we'd go for over 100 yards. You look at A&M. Most yards given up. I think they gave up 144 against Auburn, which is a team that runs it every play.
Yep.
What did we go for? 237, you said?
And Auburn was at what, 144?
I think 144. And we
237 is what I have per ESPN. I don't 100% trust ESPN.
We almost doubled those guys. And, that goes with Joe Milton throwing for about 100 yards even. We didn't pass as near as well as we should have passed for.
We're going to get to that in just a minute.
We're going to get to that. But, I mean, I love the run game. I think we're a team that can run anybody in the country. I think it's the best rush defense we'll see all season. And that's including next week.
It is.
Including the
It is.
That's including the whole deal. So, seeing what we did tonight, I feel great about this team moving forward.
I would have to concur with everything that you just said there, P. But before we get into more of my thoughts, I got to get to Timmy G giving us a 50 spot.
Wow.
Appreciate that. Timmy
baby.
G. We're going to read that off. It says D. Williams is special.
He is.
Had him coming through at the end. Hey, listen, special teams is something that we didn't talk about. Our own special teams.
We didn't talk about it on live, but we talked about it off air. What we say?
P did.
What we say? We said we're going to score 7. We're going to score 6 points on special teams. We said that off air. Didn't say it on air, I don't think. And what does D. Williams go out there and do?
Hey, that tells you a whole lot. You could not kick to the scene, but since we got a super chat, we're going to. Hey, appreciate that so
Love
much.
That, baby. Love that.
But just kind of like getting back to it, D. Williams is very special. We didn't think that we would be able to see him today, in the actual offensive scheme, just because it takes so much. And it takes even more with the way that Josh Heupel's offensive scheme is run. We like to run tempo, and we talked about it. Today was a day that we felt like tempo was a key. Like, it was such a big thing for this team. So, we pretty much knew that this was not the week for that.
Well, heck, let me stop you there. Do you feel like tempo is the reason we ran the ball so well? Or do you feel like we just moved those guys?
No. I'm not talking about us being able to run the football, at the clip that we was able to. I'm just talking about D. Williams not being a feature on this offense.
He's a yeah.
That's the only reason that I think that he was not a feature
dog
on this offense.
Absolutely, he's a dog.
We've got a lot of dogs on this team. We've got a whole lot of guys, a whole lot of dudes, offense, defense, special teams. Hey, I don't know how long this stream is going to go, but we can talk for a long time, and we want to hear y'all's feedback.
Absolutely.
Y'all, please chime in, because this is about everybody. It's not about us. We don't want to come up here and just say what we think and feel. We want to hear y'all's thoughts and feedback, because as a collective, as a Vol nation, this is a nation. All of us. I want to hear how everybody else feels. We got both do.
We got plenty to say. I got plenty to say about Joe Milton, the defense. I got plenty to say. So we'll see what the chats come in, but I have absolutely plenty to say about tonight's performance.
We could say a whole bunch of stuff. Let me get right here to Oreo Puppy Dog. He says, JG, Joe really shined today. So thank you so much for that comment.
Yeah, I
First and
love
foremost,
that,
I'm just gonna say this. I would honestly speaking, I would have to disagree with you. I would have to say that he was the one spot in this entire team that just really didn't flourish.
Yeah, let to go for 100 yards.
I'm about to tell you right now. So we're gonna pull up his stats right here, right now, so that we can know
100
exactly
yards
what he did.
even.
Yeah, so he went 11 for 22,
50%.
which is 50% at 100 yards at
4.5
4.5 yards per carry, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
I just feel like, to me, just watching him live, he missed a couple throws deep. I feel like he overthrew a couple guys that were open.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we had guys that were open. We knew we were going to get, a lot of one-on-one looks outside.
Yep.
And I feel like he missed those opportunities. I feel like he missed some guys. Now, I don't feel like he played terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, he could have played way better. I feel like we could have won more. We could have scored way more points. Could have won by more points. But he definitely missed some guys that were open. Overall, I felt.
Yeah, no, I mean you're absolutely right whenever you say that. Now, to Orioles' point, he didn't play horrible. I mean, he didn't throw that game away.
Right.
But we can definitely say this. Looking at that line of scrimmage, which is what we focus on.
Yeah. So
whoever wins that line of scrimmage is who's winning that game.
Mm-hmm.
We dominated, dominated that line of scrimmage more than anybody else that Texas A&M has seen this entire season, including Alabama.
Absolutely.
Alabama rushed for what, 30-something yards or something?
I think 20.
It was something that was so minuscule that
sure.
does not even it's almost not even worth mentioning. But it is worth mentioning because we're playing them next week. Mm-hmm. We rushed for over 200 yards on
230 yards over that.
We dominated that.
We did.
We dominated the front offense and defense. Mm-hmm. So with all that being said, there were people who was open. And this is just off of watching it on that first, live, that first go around.
Yeah.
We like to go through, we watch film, 5, 6, 7 times.
Absolutely. We gotta watch it again.
We're gonna watch it again, but from what we saw just off of a live look, which is like that quick glance, Joe missed a lot. He missed a lot.
He missed several throws.
This is a game that Tennessee, honestly speaking, let me see what the final score was, because to be honest with you, it was 20-13, which is what I thought it was. I just want to be sure.
Sure, a lot more than that.
20-13 was the final score. This is a game that we could have won by another at least 20 points. Honestly speaking.
I think so.
We
missed several deep shots. Like Bull said, we got to go back and watch the film. But just watching it live, I know Milton missed several deep shots. And I feel like missing those deep shots kind of, I don't know what the word is, but kind of held Hypo back from calling more deep shots.
Well,
I think we're beating them one-on-one outside all day long.
We was beating them on every single facet of the game.
We're better than them.
Yeah,
that's what we kept saying.
A lot better.
We're better than these guys. We kept saying
a whole lot better than them. Guys. And there was a play, and I wish I had made a mental note of it, but we don't do like the actual, like writing down notes and stuff. But I had made a mental note of it. It was early on in the game, definitely in the first half, where Joe Milton had missed a pass, and the camera had panned over to Josh Heupel. You could see it in his face. He was just like disgusted, like, what, dude?
We had those guys. We could have beat them way worse than that.
Yeah. I mean, that was a gift. Them only losing by what, 7 points?
7 points.
20-13, 7 points. That was a huge gift for us.
Absolutely.
That is a little bit worse.
Huge gift for them.
Yeah. I'm sorry if I said us. That was a huge gift for them.
Absolutely.
But so that's something that is a little bit worrisome for us moving forward. The good thing, though, that I will say about this entire season is that there aren't really any, there's no very dominant teams. So it's we can play like that, and I think that we can still win.
I
I think we can beat anybody.
I think so, man. I feel really good about the way the O-line protected overall.
Yeah.
I don't know how many sacks we gave up, the stats we look up online, they don't really give the stats away until a little bit after the game. But
we had 3 sacks given up.
We gave up 3 sacks against those guys. I think at least one of those was on Joe for just when I gave him the ball, getting in the pocket. But overall, I mean, we protected well. I mean, I have no quarrels with the way the O-line played. I think we played very, very well.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And then, you know what? There was some holding calls. There was a lot of penalties on Ollie Lane, but I think that he played very solid. I was very happy to see him, getting that second string or getting those second string reps, or I'm sorry, getting those first string reps.
Yeah.
I'm already thinking to Dylan Sampson, which is my next point. But I'm very happy to see Ollie Lane getting those first string reps. Hopefully Andre, Dre is okay, and he's not in a bad spot that we can't utilize him, because we probably will need him at some point this season. But we felt like for sure going into this game that Ollie Lane was the better left guard starting wise, and the offensive line I think played very well. I'm really proud of those guys.
I'm super proud of those guys.
Really proud of those guys.
I'd much rather see the holding calls that Ollie Lane gave up. I mean, I can watch the film
for sure.
I mean, I feel like at least 2 of I don't know how many holding calls he got, but at least 2 of the holding calls he got. I mean,
some of those were just like
they were ticky-tack. Yeah, they're
some of those were so laughable.
I would much rather see that than giving up a free, free guy to the.
You don't ever want to let anybody get a free run at your quarterback, right? So
I don't think
I'm not down on him by any means.
I think
this is some of the stuff that you might see on like Pro Football Focus that is great, may not be great, but
he played well. I think
if you look at real football, real time situational football,
that's every play. What he did, that's every play.
Yeah, I think that our entire offensive line played really solid. Is there room for us to get better? For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of coaching points, a whole lot of them. But I'm really proud of the way that we played against what is, outside of us, the best pass rush, the best rush defense in this entire conference. We played very well.
I'm very proud.
Very proud.
I mean, this is the rush defense that came into the country. Came to this game as number 1 rush defense in the country. Giving up 84 yards a game. We were for 232 on this guy.
Yeah. Okay.
The next most was Auburn, who's a team that runs it.
That was 144.
Probably 80% of the time they run the ball. Okay. We're a kind of 50-50 type of team.
Yeah.
We go for 232 on these guys. I mean, I'm super proud of the way we played. I think Ollie Lane, I mean, the couple holding calls he got, those are ticky-tack calls.
Yeah.
I like the way he played. I'd rather see the holding call than give up the sack or the big lost yards play. I mean, I'm super proud of the way he played, man. I have no quarrels about the way he played. I
absolutely not.
Every game I take that.
Let me okay. So they're saying that we had 3 sacks in this game. It feels like we only had 1. Yeah. Some of those sacks was I think that we can kind of put that a little bit on Joe. Maybe not all of them. Again, we have to go back and watch the film again. But I guess it was a little bit of both. But I mean, obviously overall, I mean, you could not expect pretty much better than what we did today. I'm really proud of everybody. Joe Milton did a very good job of escaping some pressure. He got out, made some accurate passes.
The way we had to.
All right, so listen, we're going to get to some chats in just a second. But before we do that, I'm just going to ask you, Pete, what do you feel about Keaton with all the drop? He had 3, maybe even 4 drops today.
I know he had a drop on touchdown. We ended up scoring on that drive.
Yep.
Dropping that. He had a couple more drops. I mean, I don't know what to think about the guy. I mean, I was going to think, I mean, we can't have guys that are dropping open passes. I think Heupel, his scheme, his offense, he's going to have probably each receiver will be open at least once, once per game. They have an opportunity to make a play. And he dropped multiple passes, and he's dropped passes throughout the season. Now, here's the thing about Keaton. He's a guy from Georgia. I think he's a guy that will show up when we need him. But man, you can't drop open passes.
What high school did he come from?
Marietta with Harrison Bailey.
He came from Marietta with
Harrison Bailey.
Did that team win the state, or did they go to state?
They either won the year before. I think he may have won.
That's a team that's a team. So that's a Cobb County team, which is a very good. So that's the highest classification in Georgia. We talk about that all the time. on this channel. I mean, it's SEC ball every single week. You're going to see multiple players that are Power 5 guys that have SEC offers. I'm talking about from, every single level, offense, defense, special teams, every single level. It's SEC, it's Power 5 guys for sure. So, I'm just not sure what's going on with him. But you can never really tell. I mean, obviously at that age, things can be kind of tough. We both went through that, and I would say some of us, some of y'all watching, y'all have kind of been through that, era and stage in y'all's lives, and it doesn't really take a whole lot to kind of throw you off. Sometimes it can be something that, as you get older, right, you look back and you say that was minor, but it could kind of be like a major deal. We've got to get him back locked in because we're going to need him. Because this is a team that I don't care what nobody says, y'all. Do not let anybody talk y'all out of. This is a playoff caliber team and a championship caliber team.
Absolutely.
Alabama did not dominate this team the way that we did. I don't care what the score says. We dominated them even more than what Alabama really got beat in that game, and they just won because Texas A&M gave them the game at home. But we really dominated. We've seen what Georgia has done in the East. We saw them today up against Vanderbilt. I don't care if it's at Vanderbilt. That's not a real home field advantage now. You know what I'm saying? So, how they played. Excuse me. The East is up for grabs. Saying all that just to say this. We are going to need all hands on deck. Ramel Keaton is a guy that we most definitely do need. And he's made big plays and big catches before for us. Don't know what's going on with him. Somebody's got to pull him to the side and get the outside noise, whatever that is, out of his head, and just get him back down into just football. Worry about you. Just worry about yourself. Go out there and ball. But really bright spot. Okay, Chaz Nimrod. We was talking about Caleb Webb this entire week. Caleb Webb. Chaz Nimrod came up, showed out.
He played. I don't know how many catches he had, but I don't know if it was a halftime or every time we looked at the stats, but he was our leading receiver.
For sure.
I mean, he balled. He had a big time third down catch early in the game, had a couple catches early on. He's a guy. I thought Caleb Webb be the first guy, to replace Brew, but Chaz Nimrod played well. He's had several drops early this season, but he showed up today. And, we kind of figured that. We kind of figured, Heupel, his system.
I didn't see it. I didn't think. I'm just going to be honest. I did not, just me personally, I did not see Chaz Nimrod being the guy that would step up.
Well, here's the thing. I feel like Kelsey Pope is a guy, he's a great coach.
He's a
phenomenal coach when it comes to getting his guys to be able to block off the ball and be able to make catches. I mean, he's a guy, we've talked about this before too, off channel, he's a guy, man, and we hope we can hang on to him because he's a guy. I mean, he could be. He's
going to have a whole lot of offers coming.
Whatever it is, he's the guy we need to do everything to hold on to him. He's a big time guy, but man, Chaz Nimrod played well today. I think Joe, he made a couple of key throws when he needed to. He missed some throws as well.
Joe's got to step it up.
He continues to kind of be the.
He's just good enough to not get pulled.
Yeah, he's
just good enough. Let me get into some chats real quick. All right, so Joe Gibbons says we need QB. I would have to agree with you on that. Yeah. Don't know. I mean, obviously, we don't get to see these guys on a day in and day out basis like the coaching staff does. So it's tough to say, are they holding back Nico because he's not ready? Or is it just because Joe Milton is the elder?
Well, let me ask you this. Go ahead. Let me ask you this. So, accept this. Take out Joe. Joe's out. Okay. If we put Hendon Hooker in, is this offense better? And then two, accept this. If we put Nico in, is this offense better?
Well, okay. Hendon Hooker, we all know. But
way better.
If you're talking about Nico, we don't really fully know, right? Because we haven't really seen a whole lot of them. But my whole point with what I was about to say is Joe Milton was starting over Hendon Hooker.
At first, yeah, he was.
And then Joe Milton goes down, and we see how much better this team got with Hendon Hooker.
Was a guy. I mean, here's the thing I'll say about Joe. I can remember one play early in the game where he avoided the sack and threw the ball. Ended up being incomplete, but he threw it away. I mean, he's getting better, I do feel like. But he's missing open. we had several, at least 3 or 4 plays I can remember where he overthrew open guys.
I'm just gonna tell you this, okay? Honestly speaking. So again, back to what I was just saying, right? You see that Joe Milton was starting over Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker comes in, the entire team just gets exponentially better. I believe, and I'm not trying to start any controversy here, but I'm always just gonna be real. We're always gonna be honest. I do believe from the minimal amount of snaps that I've seen from Nico, I think that this offense would be a lot more productive up under Nico. We had that was in the first quarter wherever Joe is having to look over to the sidelines. He still can't figure out what to do.
Yeah, call timeouts early.
You're a 6-year senior. I mean, and you had a whole bye week. Like that should have never happened. For this guy. And I'm just so thankful that did not cost us this game.
Me too.
But at some point, a team is going to really, really stack that box and force Joe to beat us. Now, I will say this to your point, Pete. He showed a little bit more of gamesmanship, showed a little bit more of running the ball. I was really happy to see because, we talked about this in our video prior to our pregame, talking about us running Joe between those tackles because it was there. And so he did a good job at that. He did a good job of moving outside the pocket. I mean, he doesn't play terrible. This is the most. He does just good enough. But he does again, we have not rewatched film yet to really be able to say it. But we will come back and we'll have a little bit more in depth and say what we really saw.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put it this way. I feel like you just said, we got to go back and watch the film.
Yeah,
but I mean, just with watching it live, it's like Joe does just enough. And we don't know quite what Nico's going to give us for a full 60 minutes. We've seen enough to feel confident that he's going to give us what we want. We haven't seen quite enough to say for sure if he'll be an improvement from Joe. It's like Joe does just enough. He makes
just to be able to just enough that you can't really pull him.
Yeah, I do think if Nico gives us what we've seen from the glimpses of him, I feel like this will be offense that it's a 50-point a game offense.
Oh yeah, I mean there's no question. And then too, you look at the pieces that we have coming in next season. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but you look at the pieces that we have coming in. This offense next year, team next year is going to be crazy.
Let's stop you there because I kind of got into some debates with some guys on Twitter.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Boo Carter? Do you feel like he's going to play offense at all? Do you think he's going to stick to what the coaches have recruited him as and be a defensive back?
No. So listen, we've said this from Jump Street. We feel like Boo Carter is so explosive and so dynamic on offense.
Gosh.
It's a disservice to him and to this team to put him on defense. It just doesn't make any sense.
They got to give him the ball.
I mean, you look at his film, and the craziest thing is, from his junior film to his senior film, he's gotten better exponentially
against better competition.
Right. He's kind of moved up. So, I don't think that there's any doubt about that. I'm just gonna say this really quickly. I'm not gonna go too deep into this, but Peerless Price talked about being a top wide receiver prospect coming out of high school. And Fulmer and his whole staff said, hey, you can come in and play wide receiver for us. Came in and played DB, but he ended up playing wide receiver in a scout team situation.
Wow, I didn't know that. Wow.
And that's where he earned his stripes.
Wow, I know.
And that's where they started him as a wide receiver. So, but yeah, and I mean, Boo, it's to me that's a.
He's got to get the ball. He's got to get.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very dynamic athlete. He can play both for sure. But if you want the best for that young man, which we all do,
absolutely,
and if you want the best for this team, which we all do,
he's got to get the ball.
You've got to put the ball in this man's hands, and there is no question about that. Let me get some more chats real quick. Okay. Now let's see here. All right, so Timmy G says the defense got pressure all night. Running game was amazing against the best run D. Quarterback play was not good. Yeah, I have to agree with you for sure on that. Yeah, the quarterback play, I would like to say on both sides wasn't great.
Yeah.
It just
I definitely agree with him as far as the run offense being better, even better than I expected to be. 232 on the ground. I expect us to go for over 100. But I mean, I think the O-line definitely moved bodies and like we talked about, the tempo and the spacing, we knew was going to be an impact to the game.
Yeah.
And I think we saw that throughout the game.
Absolutely. And then Concrete Vol says, y'all have drunk, LOL. No, we are not have drunk. We have been up since what? You've been up since earlier than me.
About 7 o'clock a.m.
Yeah, and you went to sleep late. Yeah, no, we're just off of a very long day, brother. Very, very, very long day.
Long day.
This is like, it's football all week. It's football literally almost every single day for us. So we pretty much eat, sleep, and breathe this. So his son Casey, who y'all saw earlier today,
they play 9 a.m. every day, every Saturday. So.
And P is coaching on that team, and I've come up and I filmed that, and then after that we try to rush here and get to the live stream on Saturdays and everything, and then obviously after that we've got our other nephew Bray got his game. He plays later, so. Really thankful for this 3:30. I mean, some people like the earlier, some people like later. Personally, I like that middle of the road game because we can actually kind of like get everything going here. So Timmy G says Ramel dropped one and Joe threw that interception in the end zone. That's 2 we missed. We can't miss those against Bama. Yeah, so you know what? I'm going to say this. Obviously Alabama and Nick Saban, they are who they are. This game right here, even though we're going to Tuscaloosa next week, this game worried me a lot more because I think that, honestly speaking, this team, especially on defense, that front is a lot better, than what Bama is.
I think so. I agree.
And I think that we will have success. Now, one of the questions is, how do we perform on the road? We'll get into that a little bit later, but I think that we are a lot better than Alabama. I don't know what the final score was to that Arkansas game, but I think
it was 27-24. I think it was a 3-point game.
Arkansas is not a very good team
at all.
And
here's what I'll say about Heupel. I feel like he's played Saban, I think 2 years. He's played him 2021, 2022. 2021, I think we took him to the fourth quarter. I think it was like 21-21, something like that. It was a close game going to the fourth.
Close game.
They ended up pulling away kind of late, but it was a close game. Then obviously beat them last season. I think we have a good plan. It reminds me a lot of Hugh Freeze, when he was at Auburn. He just seemed to have Saban's number. Or maybe it's Kirby Smart. He seemed to have his number. I think similar deal. I think he'll put up points on those guys.
Yeah.
It's just, can we do it on the road is what it comes down to.
That's the only thing, and I think that you're talking about Coach Freeze at Ole Miss, but I do. I mean, I'm just not overly impressed with Alabama as a team as a whole.
Not at all.
I'm a guy that I was really, really big on Alabama. I was really, I mean, I just felt like Saban is such a good coach and have so much talent that they would perform a lot better than what they have so far. But after watching them pretty much, I've watched Spurs to them every single week, Spurs to Georgia every single week. And I'm just not, I'm not concerned about them.
I don't think Texas is that good.
I don't think Texas is that good either. You know what? I was speaking, this is a year that I don't see anybody that's like a world beater. There's nobody that really seriously is like, dang, like there's no way that we can compete with those guys.
Yeah, we can beat any team that we line up across from. We just got to go out there and do it.
Yeah.
You look at Bama. I mean, that's obviously a tough game on the road. We struggled on the road, but like I've said, Heupel seems to kind of have Saban's number somewhat. I think we'll put up points, but here's the deal.
Yeah, go ahead.
Heupel's had Hendon Hooker for 2 years.
There it is.
He's had Hendon Hooker.
Supposed to get to that.
So can he do it with a guy like Joe Milton? I mean,
that's going to be really tough. That's going to be tough. Well, so listen, this is the thing. A lot of these coaches, you're always going to be a little bit overly conservative and a little bit overly cautious. And we've seen that a lot with Nick. Well, not a lot, but we've seen that some with Nick Saban. But we've known this for years since Cam Newton and his whole deal. You can go back to, Johnny Football, all that. There's mobile quarterbacks up against that Bama standard that like what they like to do, that Nick Saban standard. They give them a whole lot of problems. And there's a what's the word that I'm looking for? There's a kryptonite for every scheme. And the kryptonite for a Nick Saban's scheme is a quarterback that is mobile and can throw.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they haven't shown a whole lot of that, if they are capable of it, he's going to over-process it.
Mm-hmm.
And, that team, I think, is going to be, they're going to be a little bit more cautious of that.
So I think the kryptonite to Saban offense is Saban's very analytical. I feel like he's very, like structural.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get a guy like a Johnny Manziel or even the guys that
guys that come out just like
just ball, which what's the guys? Milton hasn't done that a ton this season.
There it is.
You've got to be able to play a little backyard ball.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to scramble, guys say run a free route, get open. And we haven't seen that a ton from Milton, so that does.
I don't know if we've seen that at all from Milton.
We haven't seen it at all really from Milton. I mean, like I would say today, like he did throw it away, get rid of the ball. He did a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But you've got to be able to hit guys because here's the deal. Okay, when you're playing a team like Bama, they're going to be well prepared. Okay, they're at home. The whole deal. Players are going to break down. When they break down, guys are going to run. They're going to get open. Can you keep your eyes down the field?
You're right.
Can you scramble by time and hit them down the field? And I don't know if Milton has that ability in him.
So
scares me.
Okay, so and you know what? You actually kind of stole my thunder with what I was saying, but you are exactly right. Quarterbacks who are mobile and who are capable of being able to throw the ball on the run and also rush, it gives Nick Saban defenses problems. And not just Nick Saban, but everyone who comes from his coaching tree gives them all problems because they are more like an old school, like pocket passer-esque. But Joe Milton, this is a game. We saw a lot more of that from him in this game, which makes me feel good.
I feel better about it.
But he's got to open up a little bit more, Joe. Like we need you to just a little bit more. Like there was just a couple of plays where we saw, hey, you could have scrambled for the first down. Yeah. And this is not us being overly critical because this is
we're trying to win games, guys.
Yeah, no, well, and this was so blatantly obvious that like you should have seen that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is something that Joe should have seen. I don't want to say that he has to get to the point where he gets it because he's a 6-year senior. I think that what he is right now is what he is. We saw more of that gamesmanship today, more of that baller-esque out of him today. But, we can't hang our hat on expecting him to do much more than that. That's pretty much what he is.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's going to be tough to expect him to do that against Bama on the road in Tuscaloosa. I just don't feel like it's going to come down.
That's really nerve-wracking.
We'll call it to beat Bama next week. The run game's going to have to do what they did tonight. We'll go for about 230, and we're going to have to freaking get after the passer. We're going to have to get after the passer. We're going to have to cause Milroe to make plays.
Oh yeah, so I'm not worried about our defense versus their offense.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that either.
Not worried about that at all.
I think
their offense almost not.
I think we'll be fine. Yeah, but can we move the ball? I think here's the deal.
I think that we can run it on.
I think so. I think Bama's nowhere near. And we heard Price and his bunch talk about it this week as well. They're more. What's the word they say? Human, whatever you want to call it. They're more vulnerable, whatever it is. Sure. They're not the same Bama team we've seen in years past. But here's the deal about hyper coach teams on the road. You don't know what you're gonna get. You have no idea what you're gonna get. Yeah,
this is a game, and I'm gonna say this really, really quickly, but something that I saw from I think it's called the Players Lounge. It's a podcast with Riley West, who's a softball player for the University of Tennessee, if y'all didn't know, and Big O, who's our star defensive tackle, number 21. They have a podcast and they do like a lot of talking with different players throughout all of Tennessee sports. But one of the things that I kind of picked up was Josh Heupel. Obviously, he's a player's coach, and we all knew that. But he's a lot more lenient than what I would have ever even imagined. Which it could be a good thing, but I think it's a little bit too lenient. I think he's got to kind of find a good happy medium.
Yeah.
But whenever we go on road games and the team is inside of a hotel, obviously the team, the players, family members come and see them, and it sounds like Heupel just gives them kind of like free reign to spend time with their family, which I'm not against that because I do believe that these guys need to see their family. I think that's a great thing. but there's got to be a minimum to that. And it kind of sounds like after that, the guys are kind of like, playing cards and stuff. It's too much free time. Usually what it is for most teams, you're in team meetings all day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you travel, and the coaches and head coach will have a lot of stuff implemented so that you can't get into trouble. I think that Hypo's got to be a little bit more strict with that. But let me get into some chats real quick. I just want to get that real quick 2 cents. So Jeff says our receivers can't catch perfect passes. What the hell? So
that's huge.
It's not all
Ramel Keaton
played terrible.
Ramel Keaton is a glaring guy today. I feel like everybody's played pretty well.
Definitely got to step up.
He dropped several passes, and we've seen it throughout the season. I mean, he's dropped several passes. And I mean, is he a guy that's a case of us crowning him too early? He had the big catch against Florida last season.
No.
Came in, showed up. That. I mean,
Keaton's not that guy. I mean, if you honestly, if you think about our season last year, his catch up against Florida, that diving catch, that sparked the entire season, honestly speaking. I just think that sometimes, especially as you get older, you kind of start to feel a little bit more freedom. And that freedom, it can make you or break you. Like they say, pressure busts pipes or it makes diamonds. And that's kind of an opposite thing. I guess I would say the exact same thing. Freedom can, bust pipes, or it can also make diamonds. And I don't know if that's what the deal is there, but it's definitely something that's kind of like outside of the football realm. It's more of like an off the field thing for Keaton, and he just got a lot of thinking. You know what I mean? Like Keaton is a dude. Keaton is a guy that we can trust throughout the season, but he's gonna have to. This is what I would do if I was coaching. You got to earn your way back into it. Like, you can't come out and have a terrible game like he did today. And expect that next week up against Bama and Tuscaloosa that we're going to trust you. Show us that in practice, and then give these other, younger guys opportunities. Like, that's how you keep guys hungry. And that's how you keep that competition going throughout the season.
Yeah,
that's the way that I would do it. I don't have all the answers. I've never been a college football head coach, so I don't know. But that's the way that I would do it. Y'all let us know what y'all would do in the comments. Let me get to some more comments. Concrete Vol says Joe doesn't hit reads when they are open. He's too slow to the punch. I would definitely say that there were some times for sure that I saw that today, that he was just a little bit too slow. And, you don't expect that out of a guy that's a 6-year senior. You would expect for them, especially, a guy that's been Power 5 the entire time, you expect for them to understand and know what they're seeing and understand what they're going to be getting pre-snap, which is what we talked about leading up into this week. It's going to be the same thing throughout this entire season. Now, we're in SEC play. Pre-snap is going to be huge. I think that the offensive line did a good job. Joe Milton didn't do a terrible job. He's got to do a little bit better, and he's got to relax. Like, you got to be able to hit wide open people. You don't have to rocket it. I know that he knows that he's got a very strong arm, but I think that he also needs to know that, hey, 60% of your throw is like, that's going to be good for what we need on most passes. You don't have to put too much on it. And I think that he put a little bit too much on a couple of passes, and he kind of overthrew some people. And we've seen that throughout his tenure. But hold on, let me go. Just go ahead and put your phone on silent.
Is it going on?
It's been going on. All right, so let's see what else we got here. All right, so Eric B. Jones says, how many sacks did Tennessee get on Texas A&M Blue Chip? All right, so we're going to go back to it. I'm pretty sure it was only 2. It feels like it was a whole lot more than that. Yep, so it was only 2 sacks. We only got 2 sacks, but to your point, though, right, like, that kind of goes to show you this is something that us living in the A, being Falcons fans, going through that Mike Smith tenure, I know that y'all probably don't know what we're talking about, but he just said this a lot. He said that sacks were overrated. I don't believe in that, but I kind of get where he was going with it. His whole point was, if you get to the quarterbacks, it's not the same. It's not the same in the NFL, but college, it definitely can be. If you can get pressure on them, they're going to get a little bit flustered, and you can get some inaccurate passes. We did a really good job of getting Max Johnson off the spot. Let me tell you something. James Pierce
he's a guy.
My goodness.
An absolute guy.
My goodness. James Pierce is a guy.
Talk about a guy who, preseason, I mean, I didn't necessarily believe he was going to be a guy. Like
I
didn't account for him. I thought he was going to be a third or fourth tier type of guy.
Yeah,
but he is a guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, when it's third down, look for James Pierce
for sure. And then you know what? One of the guys that we had pegged in this game was Omar Norman-Lott.
He's out. He's freaking out.
Excuse me. Yeah, and
that broke our heart. That broke our heart when we heard.
But for us to be able to get the type of pressure that we got, even up the middle, without James Pierce,
that's huge. That says a lot.
I'm sorry. Without Omar Norman-Lott, that says a lot.
Rodney Gardner.
And Rodney Gardner deserves a raise. I know he's probably gonna be happy to hear us say that, but
absolutely,
he for sure. He's done a phenomenal job with that front. And as far as I'm concerned, as far as I've seen, this is the best front in the entire country. I don't care what nobody says. This front is dominant. This is a team that I think they were only averaging a little bit more than 1 sack per game coming into this game. They played up against all these different teams. Bama, all these guys. They've had a pretty good schedule, and I feel like we affected their quarterback more than, or maybe not more than Bama did last week, but we did affect it.
Yeah,
we have to go back and watch the film.
We go back and watch, but I mean, they couldn't just drop back and we talk about all week the deep routes and how long it takes to develop. They couldn't just do that, and I mean that's something I want to see coming into this game is can we get after the passer against a quality SEC O-line?
For sure.
And to me, I mean, even without one of our best guys on the interior and Omar Norman-Lott, we still were very impactful. We still rushed the throw, and they still couldn't just give passes time to develop. They had to get out quick. So
this is considered one of the better offensive lines in the SEC. Absolutely. So I mean, if we can do it up against them, which we felt pretty confident that we could do it. But we can do it up against anybody. So moving forward, I mean, I think that we can expect the same type of pass rush, if not more, throughout the season. Let's get to some more chats. Jeff says, "Love our." Hold on. Did I miss something here? Okay, no. Okay, all right. So Jeff says, "Love our old line and running backs." Yeah, for sure. This is something else, and we kind of talked about this at the start of this. Texas A&M was averaging giving up
I think 84 yards.
84. I want to say it was 88. It was 80-something yards per game. We had tonight
237, I think.
It was 237 per ESPN stats. Okay, so I mean,
I think the next most was 144 from Auburn.
Yeah,
right. Runs it every play.
Exactly right. Yeah, and Auburn does a whole lot more read option stuff, so sometimes maybe that can be a little bit misleading. But, I mean, this offensive line, this running attack is for real. It is for real.
I love that.
I mean, this was considered the best front in the entire country, honestly speaking. A lot of people held that type of, standard for this team and was able to come out and rush the way that we did. I think that the offensive line took it personally and the running backs took it personally. Really proud of what Small did today.
He ran hard.
He was a guy that I said, hey, he should be our third running back.
Which he was.
Yeah, which he was. But at the same time, he came in and he gave us a whole lot of –
He did.
He gave us a whole lot of a spark. He did. And actually, today was a day that Sampson didn't play as well, and it's going to happen like that. But I love our starting 3 running backs. I will say this, until anything or anyone proves otherwise, we've got the best stable of running backs in this entire country because we've got 2 more guys at least back there that are studs.
Absolutely, man. I think we're a team we can come out here and try to run on everybody we play and see how it goes. And if it doesn't work, then we can really try to work the pass game. But we can run anybody. We proved that tonight.
Absolutely. So Timmy G says they need to offer Cooper a big NIL deal to bring him back next season.
I agree.
Yeah. Hey, listen,
we need him.
If there was any way, so listen, I mean, golly, dude. Cooper Mays he's a grown man.
He's a guy.
He's a grown man.
He makes our whole offense better.
I'm so proud of him. He's one of those guys, kind of like Brew, that you can't really quantify what he means to this team. And you know what? There are other guys, and I don't mean to just talk about Coop, but yeah, I mean, I'm just so proud of so many guys on this team just for just being really gritty and just really giving everything. Because us as fans, like, it's pretty easy for us as fans to say, hey, this is how we would play or this is how we would, do things if we were out there. But to actually be out there and doing it, And I look at Coop and I say, golly, I've never played on offensive line, but if I did, I kind of feel like, I would want to kind of, I would try to play like Coop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He shows up every snap.
Yeah.
He makes a huge difference. And, people talk about, the rush offense and how good is this Tennessee O-line, how good is Tennessee rush offense. I think Cooper Mays being in the game, it makes us exponentially better.
Oh yeah, it's like
exponentially.
There's no question.
He's invaluable. Like you said, you can't really quantify how much he means to this team. And so, him being here, hopefully he can stay healthy the rest of the season. But him being a part of this roster and being healthy and ready to play, we gonna need him rest away.
Oh yeah, there's no question. Make sure you put that on silent. All right, so let me get to some more of these chats. Wait a second, did I miss something? Okay, so Jeff says Punter did well too. Yeah, so I think that Ross did a great job. Mm-hmm. I think that our special teams as a whole did a phenomenal job. We were pretty worried about that, but obviously we get the one up on Texas A&M this week, and we scored, and they didn't for the most part was able to keep that ball out of bounds and keep it out of play. And again, that just goes to a very well coached football team. Right. And these are things that a lot of people will overlook, but you cannot let's not give the coaching staff and these players their flowers for properly coaching and executing a game plan to keep the ball out of some very dynamic playmakers' hands. Mm-hmm. I can almost guarantee you, I haven't looked at these numbers, but I can almost guarantee you that we held Texas A&M to less special teams yardage than they've got in any other game this entire season. Yeah. So, again, goes to a very well-coached team. We've got to feel really good about that, Vol Nation. Mm-hmm. Let's see what else we got here. So, what did I miss here? Okay, so Eric B. Jones says, Timmy G, thanks. I figured out D would get more than that, but I ain't complaining. Our Vols won. Go Big Orange. And Timmy G says, special teams were big for us for sure. Jeff says, soft catchable passes too. Yes. I think that Joe threw, a lot more catchable balls. Timmy G says they should have had more, but that QB was throwing from the ground. Okay, so maybe they're talking about Texas A&M. Yeah, we affected Max Johnson a ton. And we kind of talked about that earlier.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, we did, man. We got after the passer a lot in this game. And, honestly, I feel like the secondary held up pretty well in coverage. Guys weren't wide open. I feel like Gabe Judy held his own. Kamal Haddon's a guy we've talked about all season as a guy that's, going to be
I think that Haddon played well.
Yeah, he's
I can't say trust. Yeah, and this is what we said about Gabe Judy all season. He's much more of a squat corner. You don't want to see him. Yeah, you don't want to see him playing down the field.
Yeah.
And so, hopefully Slaughter is hopefully he's kind of like getting back into his groove because we are going to have to be a little bit more versatile and multiple, going throughout the season if we want to be able to win on a consistent basis. And we fully expect and we want to win every single game. And I know that the staff and the players are the exact same way. I'm sure that y'all feel the exact same way. Gabe Judy Lally is just not a guy that can cover well down the field. Now, in cover two situations where he's squatting, where he's playing more of a shorter zone, and he's able to come up and be physical and make tackles, he's a bigger guy, and he does a good job getting off blocks and making some good fundamental tackles and kind of like reading plays from that aspect, but he's not the type of an athlete that you want running down the field man-to-man up against SEC caliber competition for sure. Yeah, you definitely do not want that. All right, so see what else we got here. So John Watt says Keaton has lost his confidence. Yeah, it kind of seems that way. Hopefully not. He's going to have to gain his confidence back because we're kind of short at wide receiver. And Keaton is a guy that we most definitely need. So hopefully if he has lost his confidence, he's going to have to get it back. And, I'm sure that Josh Heupel and the entire staff, Pope and everybody else, they understand, what it takes to, from a psychological perspective, to kind of get these guys back in tuned and just back dialed in and back confident. Like we've got to have a very confident team. This is a tough league, and you've got to be very confident to be able to play. Now let's see here what else we got. So Timmy G says he's not playing like last year. That's for sure. I think he's talking about Keaton. That is for sure. Jeff says we win the battles and the war. Yes. I think that we won most of the battles, and we most definitely won the war because obviously we won the game. Let's see what else we got here. Dex Culpepper, he says, Milton the worst. So I wouldn't say that he's the worst. I understand where you're coming from, though. But I would not say that he's the worst because he could have played a lot worse than he did today. Yeah. You know, he is a very solid game manager. But if we are talking about a team that wants to win a national championship, he's taking those steps in the right direction, especially today, to be able to kind of. I mean, obviously not put the team on his back, but he's shown that he can he's taking steps in that direction. But he's got to do more, for sure. I mean, this team is going to need more because at some point, he's going to have to be able to make those passes one-on-one whenever teams stack the box and stop our running game. And whenever teams do both, he's going to have to make some plays with his legs, whether that's running for positive yardage or whether that's extending plays with his feet and being able to hit people with accurate, catchable balls. That's the separation from a good to great to elite quarterback in all of football. And, hopefully he can get there. Obviously, he's a 6-year senior, so we don't know. We're just going to keep on praying, baby. You already know. And Jeff says, I'd like to see them use more arm strength when going for catches, too. Not quite sure exactly what you're saying, but I think maybe he's talking about fighting for those balls. I mean, maybe guys can use a little bit more arm strength. And Brad Sells with a thank you so much for that $10 super chat. He says, keep it up. Good stuff. Love Joe. Not sure he can get us there. Pulling for him, though, because no way Coach Josh Heupel goes with Nico Go Big Orange. Excuse me. Yeah. Let me go and play that. I'm going to play that clip for that. Absolutely. But yeah, now you are exactly right. Let me go ahead and play that for you real quick. Let's get to it. Find it. What's that? P? Where is it?
Oh, was that on there? I thought it was right there.
Here it is. All right, gotcha.
Absolutely. Hey, you're exactly right, man. We've got to get more out of Joe. You know, he didn't play terrible, but I mean, when you're playing against teams like Bama, Georgia, we're trying to play for talking about playing in the playoffs. We're gonna need a guy that can make plays with his arm.
Yeah,
and
Joe, he's gonna have to make plays with his arm and with his leg and both.
He hasn't shown that any consistency this season.
Yeah.
So I mean, we can rush 232 all day long, but we need a quarterback because here's the deal. A&M, they gave us everything we wanted from a pass perspective. He could have threw for 300 yards, but what did he throw for 100 even? I mean, he could have done way more.
I'm gonna tell you something too, though. You know, it's crazy that we was able to win how we did. With 400 yards, we ran all over.
And here's the deal.
I think that says a lot about how dominant this team can be.
Because here's the deal. A lot of people doubted Heupel and Heupel coach teams for saying, hey, you can't win if you don't score 30 points, yada, yada, yada. Here's the deal. But what we do.
Wait a second. Wait a second. We didn't even talk about this. I think this might be Heupel's first win without scoring 30.
We went out there and dominated. We won this game in a different fashion than what traditionally happens with Heupel teams.
Yeah.
And so, I love to see that. But at the same time, we should still be putting up. I think we left a lot of points off the board. I put that.
Yeah.
A lot of points off the board against the
A&M
team.
For sure.
We should score way more than that.
For sure. Yeah. There's absolutely no question. Let's get to some more chats here. VFL Willie says, what's up, guys? What's going on, VFL Willie? Appreciate you tapping in. Coach J says, I'm sleepy. This game takes more out of me than coaches. Man, listen, it must, you know what? That's the weirdest thing is that since I've been doing, obviously, a lot more spectating from playing, I just feel so much more tired because I don't know. It's like, it feels like you have to give more from the sidelines or from the couch to try to will these guys to a victory than you have to whenever you're out there playing. Hey, appreciate y'all so much, man. Sure. And you know what? Coach Jay is a guy. Hey, you know what? I would love to, we would love to be able to do like a film breakdown with you, Coach Jay, if you're still tuned in. We'll definitely tap in with you. But yeah, we would love to be able to get into that. I mean, we just love ball, man. Like we do this stuff all day. We have such a passion for it, and we're always willing to, definitely learn and just, I'm sure that us coming together would, I feel like that would be a ton of fun, even if it's not even on camera. I mean, I would like to just get together with you and break down some film with you, man.
Love that.
That's how much we love it. Let's get to some more chats. Man, this thing. I apologize for that, y'all. This thing kind of takes us down. We're still trying to get this thing figured out. Let's see here. So Brandon Jones says, I think Selden is just as versatile as Carter. So personally, I think Carter may benefit us better at DB, but I would be happy wherever they play him. So if you're talking about Arion Carter, I would say that Arion Carter is a much better linebacker than he would be a defensive back. And the only reason that I say that is just because, and I think that I feel where you're coming from with that, because he's a very versatile athlete, especially looking at his high school film. He's a guy that he's got great burst, great hips and everything. But, coming out of high school to college, especially SEC, I mean, high school, Power 5, SEC, it's a big difference in the level of athlete. I would say maybe your average safety, would have like your average safety skill set would be like a linebacker in SEC ball, but they had to have the size and, obviously everything else. And I'm saying all that just to say, I think that Arion is in the correct spot. Mm-hmm. He didn't play great today from what I saw from a glance. Yeah. But, he's just got to kind of trust himself a little bit more. It looks a little bit almost like a kid that is still kind of growing into his body. Yeah. Stumbles a lot, falls over his own feet a lot. We didn't see that on film. He's doing a lot more of that in college, but it does look like he is starting to pick up where the plays are going. He's trying to get there, and he's just got to get a little bit more coordinated. And once he does that, he's going to be an absolute stud at linebacker. But as far as DB, I don't know if we want to put him there. And then Selden is a guy who is dynamic enough that he can definitely play defense for sure. I think that with the Josh Heupel offense, you feel a little bit more. I think that you want him more on offense because he gives more of an upside to the team on offense. He's a guy that he's so dynamic that you want to get the football in his hands. We haven't seen much of him this season. We have seen him on special teams. He's done a pretty good job there. But whenever we see him getting the ball for 15 to maybe 20 touches a game, he's going to be a big home run hitter, especially with all the dynamic playmakers that we got. Oh yeah. I mean, listen, the sky's the limit for this team. Don't sleep on this next class, man. We was talking about, we thought that maybe we might have like a little bit of a drop off in next year's class, but the more that we're seeing it, if our front seven can hold up the way that it's looking like it's doing right now with some of these young guys, hey, next season could be a little bit of a step up. But let's get to some more of these chats. G. Smith says, I love Joe's running game today, but 11 for 12 for 100 yards ain't it? Yeah, you're exactly right. Why do most of our wide receivers have butterfingers this year? That's a really good question. I can't really quantify it. Sometimes people want to talk about, well, maybe Joe throws it too hard. That's not an excuse. That's just not. This is a little bit of a different generation, but even still.
You think about the pass, I think we're under center, play action. Ramel King's wide open. The pass he drops.
That was a lobber.
So that was a lobber. It's not the velocity. I don't know what it is, but there's definitely something.
This is something that we can't quite quantify. This is something that would be a little bit more of, you have to be more around the team to be able to see like their everyday movements to try to figure out what's going on. This is some sort of a like weird psychological issue, but there's no. So look, I'll also say this. I'm gonna say this really quickly. For those of you who have watched, or for those of you who do know, I do a show on Buford High School here in Georgia, and we've got a lot of top players. And we played up against another Georgia team last night on ESPN, Mill Creek, and we lost. And we've got the number one quarterback in the entire country. There were 10 drop passes in that game. I've watched these guys ad nauseum for, several months. And these are guys that are very sure-handed, especially on those types of passes. I'm out there on the field. Sometimes weird stuff like that happens, but I do feel what you're saying. That's been a very consistent theme throughout this year. Sometimes it's just something really small. It could be the spin of the ball, or it could be. I don't know what it is, but Bottom line is the wide receivers are to blame for that. The ball hits you in the hands, you've got to make the catch, and there's just no excuse. So they've got to, they've got to get out there with Joe, and they've got to do a whole lot more catching. I don't care about the damn jug machine. That's a whole different deal. Get out there with the actual quarterbacks, not just one, but all of them, and all of the wide receivers, and let's throw the ball around. That's something that they should do every single day. So hopefully they'll get more into that, and we won't see as many drops, but that's really all that it takes, man. Like, let's just get more consistent with that. Let's see what else we got here. Brandon Jones says Joe can't do the simple things right, and as a super senior, you shouldn't be seeing these issues. Not good pocket awareness. Can't hit the easy throws like a simple slant. So I don't think that necessarily, and again, we have to kind of like go back, but I don't think that he played terrible from a accuracy perspective, but he most definitely does miss passes on a consistent basis, and he does miss some pretty easy passes. So
yeah, and I mean, we did see he wasted timeout. I don't know if it was the first quarter, second quarter. Wasted timeout because he lets the play clock get down to 0. He might have wasted.
That was first quarter.
Yeah. So,
but that was the only time that he did it though.
Okay, yeah. So, but that's type of stuff that we're seeing from him. That, like you said, as a 6-year guy, you don't expect to see that type of stuff from him. So he doesn't clean that up. But like we keep saying, we'll come back to it every time. Is he's not playing necessarily losing football. He's playing good enough for us to be able.
He's playing literally like I'm talking about hanging on by a thread.
We can win with how he's playing.
Just good enough. Yeah. Well, we can win right now.
Yeah, we got Bama coming.
But can we be a championship contender with him playing like that? I don't think
we're gonna need more.
He's got to step up.
At some point, he's gonna have to grow up and freaking throw for 300 yards.
Question really is,
4 touchdowns.
will he ever do that as a super senior? As a 6
If we're gonna win national title, he's gonna have to do that.
He's gonna have to do it. Yeah, there's no question about it. He's gonna have to do it. I don't see us even in what I would consider a down year for college football overall. I just don't see us being able to.
We can't just lean on him.
Go the entire way through the playoffs with him playing the way that he's playing. So again, it's not terrible right now, and I'm not going to beat him up.
Could be worse.
He has to understand, and I know that the coach staff understands because, like we said earlier, we saw Josh Heupel's face. Heupel understands. Heupel gets it. Heupel knows, and if you listen to Halsley gets it too. Like, you can tell he's trying to take up for his team, and kudos to this coaching staff for that, taking up for their players. But honestly speaking, you can kind of read between the lines, and you can tell like they get it. Like, it's a little bit scary. We've got to step up in a few places, and I just, honestly speaking, man, I just don't think that at this point there's anything that you can do or say for Joe Milton to get to that point. So, I don't know, man. I just don't know. Maybe that light will turn on. I have seen that. I've seen the light turn off. So guys, kind of like later on in their careers. Let's see. Eric B. Jones says, I think Tennessee defense can stop Jalen Milroe. We shut Bryce Young down last season. So if Tennessee D can stop Bryce Young, they can stop Jalen Milroe. The issue is with Joe Milton being 100%. Yeah. So I have to agree with you a lot right there, Eric. This team is so different in so many different ways. It's so different. From the team that played up against Alabama last season. For one, like what we just talked about, Joe Milton is nowhere near what Hendon Hooker is or was. But our defense is taking a whole lot of leaps and bounds forward. Yeah. But then again, we're not playing at home. We're playing in Tuscaloosa this season. So, defense and our running game is going to really have to carry us. But I do that. That's a game that I feel pretty comfortable and confident in. Yeah. I think that we can win that game kind of the way that Joe Milton is playing right now. As long as everyone else comes up to par, I think that we'll be fine. Now, question is, and the question is going to be every single week, until this season is over with, when will Joe Milton step up and be that X factor for us and take us to that next level? Yeah. Once he does that, I'm going to tell y'all right now, I'm never going to be overly confident or too cocky, nothing like that. But I'm going to talk to y'all because this is always just us talking. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say, hey, look, ain't nobody's touching us. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no way nobody can ever stop us. If we had this team with Joe Milton, I hate saying that because it's like, what's the point of saying it? Because we don't have him. But if we had this team with Joe Milton, we would easily, and I'm talking about easily, be the best team in this country.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
that is a no.
That's our
that's
only
no
thing. If we play a team that's going to fully sell out, commit to stopping the run, and they put it all on Joe Milton's shoulders, can we still win a game? And I mean, I want to say I want to believe we can. But we haven't seen that. He hasn't shown his ability to do that. Today, guys were open. Mm-hmm. He missed them.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I mean, if I was playing us, I'm putting, heck, I'm going
stack that box.
I'm going 7 in the box. We're gonna play one.
I would go 8 and 9 in the box.
Yeah, we're gonna play single high and force them to make accurate throws.
I wouldn't go single high. I would go zero coverage with maybe 7, 8 inside of the box.
I would,
and force Joe. That's what I thought we'd see more out of Texas A&M today, but we didn't see a whole lot of it. We was able to continue to keep on running. So, but I think Alabama doesn't really do a whole lot of that. They kind of do what they do, and they're always going to do what they do. So, Alabama is going to do exactly what they did last season, what they've done since Nick Saban's been there. But I think we'll have a lot of success up against them. FS says, "Let's go UT." Yes, sir. And FS also says Milton should run more. Yeah, so very, very happy to see him running more today. I thought, we talked about that. We said that would be a, critical part of this game. You kind of just got to show, and it's not just for this game, but for Alabama coming up, because like we said, Nick Saban coach teams, they don't play as well up against quarterbacks that are mobile and they show that they can run. So that was really good for us to put on film, and that's a really good comment right there. Jimmy G says, they have to use him more in the running game. He's absolutely right. Charles McFall says, I don't like how Heupel is so dedicated to Milton. Is he truly the best we have?
I think so. I think so. I think it's so easy to. I mean, everybody knows the backup quarterback's the most beloved guy in sports. I think it's so easy to want to see Nico, but I think there's so much that goes into playing quarterback that the average fan doesn't necessarily account for or take risks.
Yeah,
I just think, to me, there's it's weird because there's a huge part of me that feels like Nico could give us a lot more just because his ad lib ability and just his ability to be a baller.
Yeah.
But at the same time, just down to down, play after play, kind of being the guy. I don't know if Nico's necessarily ready for that, but at the same time, I feel like our offense in 2024, wherever next season is going to be, I do feel like it takes a step forward because we will have Nico. I feel, it's weird to say that, but I feel like we'll be so much more dynamic.
I most definitely understand what you're saying, and I'll take what you're saying, and I won't say the exact opposite. I'll say this: whenever you look at Joe Milton, how difficult is it to read cover 3, right? So for anybody who has played football, that's pretty easy. Like you can tell whenever there's a one high safety, if the safeties are kind of staggering, and maybe it looks like it's 2, but on the snap of the football, your read is probably going to be safeties first. Once you see that one safety comes down and one goes to the middle of the field, that's a very elementary. That's a very elementary read. And we saw Joe Milton throw interceptions on that. Listen, Texas A&M, they're not a team on offense, defense, or special teams that's going to do a lot of stuff that makes you say, what are they doing here? Like, they don't really disguise a whole lot of what they're doing, especially in this offense where we spread you out to identify what you're doing. I'm saying all that just to say, I kind of got a little bit long with that. So all just to say, these are high school level reads that I honestly feel like a high school level quarterback can make these reads. And that's why I'm not too concerned about, a guy like Nico Iamaleava coming in and being able to make those types of reads. Mm-hmm. I think that, honestly speaking, and I don't want to say this, I'm saying this just amongst us as volunteer fans. I think that Joe Milton has a little bit of trouble reading defensive coverages. And, if nothing else, I think that makes us better with a guy like Nico, who I haven't seen him struggle with that. Even I haven't ever seen that happen. And even if he does, like you said, he can ad-lib, and he's willing to ad-lib, and he's more of a gamer. So is he, would he be a better fit for this offense? We can't say for sure because we don't see them on a day-to-day basis. But if I'm going off of my gut and based off of what I have seen, I would say that, yes, he would be – this team's ceiling would be a lot higher with Nico than it is right now with Joe. I think that the offense is being kind of
handcuffed.
That's handcuffed up under Joe. And, we're having to – dang, I hate to say this. We're having to win in spite of Joe right now.
Absolutely.
I'm just being 100% real. We have to win in spite of Joe right now. That's just the truth.
I agree.
So
it's a weird situation because I don't know if we necessarily would be better with Nico this season. We might be.
Oh yeah.
But here's the deal. I do fully believe that next season. And that's what's so weird about it.
This team is going to be a lot more explosive.
We're going to be better. We're going to be better offensive next season with Nico.
Yeah, this team is a lot more explosive next season. 100%. Without a doubt. I feel very confident in that. Let me get to some more of these chats. Let's see what else do we got. So Charles McFall says defense is great with weapons coming too. Yeah, so defense look good.
Hey, I love to see that our D-line, I'm going to talk about this for several weeks, is I want to see our D-line against a quality SEC O-line. And today, I think we saw one, and we still got to the passer. I guess we only had 2 sacks, but we still were after the passer. I think the hurries, I think we had a high number of hurries.
Yeah.
We got after the passer. We rushed him. He was never comfortable. He was uncomfortable all game long. And that's what I want to see. And I feel like our D line is.
I think that we can do that every single game. Let me get to the super chat real quick by Wayne Starnes. Appreciate you, Wayne. We've seen you every single week. Coming in and being a big supporter of this channel. Thank you so much,
baby.
And thank you to everybody else who's been a big supporter of this channel. Hey guys, just y'all watching, sharing. Something as small as liking, it does help this channel grow so much. And we're still learning this whole deal, but it means a whole lot to us. But Big Wayne comes in with a $49.99 super chat. He says, "Go Vols! Defense was incredible. Pierce Jr. is a monster. Unleash the beast." Well, I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna do. We're going to unleash the daggum super chat here real quick for you. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate everybody who was commenting, and that means a whole lot.
Let me say something. James Pierce.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, we came in preseason, talked about who's going to replace Byron Young's production. We didn't know who was going to be. Here's the deal. I didn't expect it to be James Pierce. I didn't expect him to be the guy, but he's taken huge steps, and that's a great point you made. James Pierce is a guy, he's one of the top guys. You talk about Dallas Turner, whatever his name is, for Alabama. And then there's James Pierce. He's a top 2 or 3 guy in the whole league.
Let me say this. As far as I've seen, James Pierce is probably. I'm trying to be really solid whenever I say this. Dude. Well, I'm trying to be really solid whenever. I think that James Pierce is the best pass rusher
in the country.
Honestly speaking,
he's in that conversation.
He's different, and let me give a whole lot of credit to Coach Garner because he's not our entire defensive line. Our entire front is very disruptive and productive.
Yes,
getting to that quarterback, and not just in that phase of the game, but also in filling their gaps and lanes and just disrupting plays in the backfield. Yeah. So sorry about that. Hey, go ahead and cut that thing on silent. So we're gonna take this call. Okay. So let me see what else we got. I'm gonna get to some more of these chats for y'all real quick. Let me go up real quick. Let me see. Man, this is crazy because I'm having to go all the way up. Where are we at? Okay. So it looks like right here we are at Charles McFall. Okay. So Charles says defense is looking fantastic. Even more excited about the new guys coming in. An example, the D lineman you analyzed last week from the Birmingham area. Yeah. So I know what you're talking about, big old Ross. Yeah. So he's a guy that I feel like he is a lot like James Pierce. And he actually moved up into the top 10 for 24/7 Sports. He's got that quick burst off of the football. He's got, his top end speed is incredible. The only thing that I was a little bit down on him for was just his literally like just his strength at the point of contact. But that's something that's so minuscule. But just because he's going to get stronger, you can tell he's got that length and everything else. As he gets into a college weight room, it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, we've got more guys coming in. Deborah P says we have a very good chance against Bama with this defense and our rushers. Arkansas only threw for 150 yards today, rushed for 100, and yet only lost by 3 points today in Tuscaloosa. We can beat that. Deborah, thank you so much for everything that you've done for this channel, and you're exactly right. Yeah, I feel like we'll be very successful. As long as the team doesn't lose their minds, traveling. I think that we are better than Alabama, just to be honest with you. I think we are a much better team, so I think that we can do it. And then, when Starnes kind of getting to some of his earlier chats in, what's up, my Vols? Good to see y'all. And then VFL Willie says, what up, guys? Go Big Orange. Yes, sir. Coach Jay says, I'm sleepy. This game, okay. I feel like we already read that. No? Okay. So, and then Wayne Starnes says, don't be sleepy, coach. Let's see what else we got. Let's go. Franklin Richfield says, I don't believe that Nico needs more time to learn the offense. We're not going to the playoffs with Joe. Why put Nico in? Yeah, there's a lot of different philosophies and thoughts on that. I would say, for me, let's do the best that we can to be able to win right now, especially if we have that opportunity, because especially whenever you're talking about championship caliber teams, that doesn't, it takes not just a really good team and a really good staff. Everything else has to kind of like line up for you. So whenever you have that opportunity, I say let's go ahead and seize the bull by the horns.
I'll say this about Nico. I feel like as far as him, being ready to play, I feel like his parents, his family is on board with him sitting and watching as well. I feel like they want him to have opportunity to learn. I feel like he's a guy, you talk about 2023 class, wherever class he's in, he's probably most time to play in that class.
Yeah.
But I do think his parents and him himself want his opportunity to be able to learn, sit, watch. I don't think I want him rushed into it and rushed to a bad situation. So, I think he's in a good situation right now. It's a worse situation. He's probably better than the guy we got, but at the same time, I think it's a good situation he can sit and watch for a season. I think it'll be better for it in the long run.
Yeah, well, hopefully so. Let me get into some more chats here. So Wayne Starn says, all around these fellas no ball. Appreciate that so much, Wayne. Coach Jay says, give the LBC kid the rock. Yes, sir. I already know you say he's talking about Nico right there. Yes, I think it. I don't want to say it's time, but I would not be opposed to that by any means. And we got, Wayne is echoing that sentiment. D. Taylor says, this reminded me of 2005-ish. Former Vols, good D and terrible quarterback play. Yeah, the only thing that I'll say, though, as much as I love Coach Former, is that the whole Coach Former, really his entire era, just honestly speaking, we had a better offensive scheme, we would have won more championships. If you go back and watch those games,
our defense was so nasty.
Dude, our offense was so vanilla, We lined up and we said, hey, we're going to be better than you, and we're going to beat you that way. And so, that was our biggest problem at that time. But definitely, most definitely love Coach Farmer. And I most definitely feel what you're saying right there, D. And let's see what else we got. Coach Jay said he would love to do a breakdown. All right, Coach. So, yeah, we'll definitely reach out to you. We'll get that going. And Tim G says, Hypo won't swap Nico out till he takes at least one more loss, probably two. Yeah, I think that's a little bit too late. Let's see what else we got here. As far as the chats, looks like Zalem13 says, Joe is having trouble processing information on time, even when he makes the right decision. It's often late. Yes, we kind of talked about that. And then Wayne Starn says, Ramel couldn't catch a cold. Yes, he's not played great today. Richard Grindstep says hotel room in Dallas was worth it. And he also says, what a defense. Yeah, man. Hey, thank you so much, for going out there, and helping these Vols out. I don't know what you was doing out in Dallas. The game was in Knoxville, but hey, thank you so much.
Appreciate that.
See here, Coach Jay says, your players are your guys. Got to have their back. Absolutely. Big Papa says, Haddon is looking better, and our defense is getting better and better. There'll be something if our line get a little better blocking. Wright has really turned into a really good running back. Yeah, I think that we're pretty solid on front sevens on both sides of the football. We're doing a good job there. VFL Willie says, I hope Mincy can play. We definitely need him next week. Yeah. He looks a whole lot better than what Crawford has looked. Absolutely. And, I'm not trying to throw a shot at anybody, but it's just the truth. KC Carroll says, over 230 rushing yards. Yes, sir. Let's see here. Big Papa says, I would love to see Milton be the quarterback. He is capable of being his size and speed, arm strength. He could be the best in the country. His future will be unlimited. Yeah, you're exactly right. And seeing a lot of people echoing those same sentiments. You guys are exactly right. So, Key Deluxe. Let me get to this question. Does Kamal Haddon not respect, Coach Martinez? I'm not sure why you are asking that question or what that means. I haven't seen anything to indicate that by any means.
He's been solid also.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he respects his coach staff pretty well. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So maybe you can give us a little bit more insight. You might have some inside information that we don't know about, but we're not sure what you mean by that. G. Smith says, I don't think the offensive line will be better next year. So how can we be better offensively once Nico takes over? So, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, whenever you have a quarterback, I mean, if you guys can use your imagination for a little bit, think about Johnny Manziel and just the way he played the game. He's very just backyard football. Mm-hmm. And when you talk about guys like Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, these type of guys, they're very structural. Okay, if the offense does this, we're going to play this way. But when you got a guy that's just so free and just kind of can ad-lib the way, a Johnny Manziel can or a Nico, Avala can, that throws everything out the window. Yeah. And so I think with Nico, I think we have a chance to be better off. We have a chance to get some guys in on the offensive line, can be just as good as we are now offensively. But I think with Nico's ability just kind of to just play football, you can't account, which makes Heupel's offensive scheme so hard to stop. Yeah. It's basically go get open. You can't really account for that. And so I think with Nico's ability just to play ball, I think that's the reason why we can be better offensively, because Joe Milton doesn't really show that. He's very just that's the gut. If it's there, I'm gonna throw it. If it's not, I'm gonna take the sack, basically. Yeah, Nico's not the type of guy.
Yeah, so I mean, even if you look at the offensive line last season, obviously we had Darnell Wright, who was going on to he's been playing really, really good in the NFL. He was really good, but outside of that, I mean, where is the significant uptake in our offensive line? There really isn't one. The difference is that with different quarterbacks, the ball gets out of their hands quicker. They identify what to do with the football quicker, what play to run quicker. Some are just gamers. And then, just to Pete's point, if anybody in the chat is a fighter, any type of fighting that you do, especially if you do it on a higher level, you read certain things in that fighter based off of what they're doing, based off of how they're moving, everything else, their footwork and all of that. And you can kind of tell what they're going to do. You can get a little rhythm down. But whenever guys are funky, which is what he's talking about, when they're funky, you can't get that same type of a rhythm. You know what I'm saying? You've done this for 30, 40 years, but this rhythm is not like this. It's like, you know what I mean? It's all over the place. So I think that's what a guy like Nico can bring to this offense. Yeah. And that helps the offensive line out. It helps out the entire offense. And also, like we said, obviously, it's offensive line. I don't think we took a giant leap backwards this season. A lot of that has to do with the quarterback play as to why we feel like it's not as good. But I do think that we've got some really good guys coming in for next season. We've got a lot of very dynamic playmakers that, should have some experience in the offense. So it just feels like, and, we can't guarantee it, but it just feels like next year should be a year that the offense kind of gets back on pace with what we saw last year with Hendon Hooker, in addition to the run game and in addition to the defensive prowess that we've seen this season. I think that we can expound upon all that. And, that's what we're looking forward to. Hey, we don't know until we know. But just to answer your question, that's kind of what we see for now. Now let's see what else here. Big Papa says, how many sacks did we get tonight? We got 2 tonight, Big Papa. And let's see here. Key Deluxe also says the way he snatched the ball from Martinez after his interception. So I didn't see that. I don't know what
So
y'all
who got
talking
the
about.
pick? Was it Kamal or was it somebody else?
I don't. I thought that
got
it
the
was.
pick. Was it-
I thought that it was. I thought it was Gabe Judy Lowry. That got the
Was it
pick.
Gabe Judy?
Am I tripping?
Can't remember who it was.
I don't know. Listen. This
We're
stuff
hype.
goes
Whoever got the pick got the pick. We gotta go back and watch the film, guys.
Yeah, we are much more going back and watching the film. We're not so much of seeing who's doing what necessarily. But the Invisible Redneck says, "Go Vols, appreciate you." The Invisible Redneck and Matthew Brown says, "Great game, love your show." Blue Chip, thank you so much. Hey, so with that being said, we've been going for an hour and a half. That flew by. Thank y'all so much for being in here and rocking with us. I don't think we've got too much more to say, but we'll probably have some more. We've got to kind of break it down, and we've got to kind of get to everything else. But we will be back, and we will go live again. And we love hearing y'all's thoughts, and we love that feedback. That's really what this channel is all about. We're fans just like y'all, and y'all's thoughts and y'all's comments, y'all's foresight, everything else means a whole lot to us. So, thank y'all for chiming in, and we hope that y'all continue to do so. But with all that being said, we are going to go ahead and wrap this thing on up. And thank everybody for being a part of this. We will be back possibly, I don't know, maybe tomorrow. If not tomorrow, at some point this week. Absolutely. And as always, thank you. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks. Peace. Baby.